Nasty, that is probably somewhat of a travesty having me. Then he told the people you can call me your majesty. Keep your battery charged, he know it won't stick, yo. And it's not his fault you kick slow. Should've let your trick hold, chick hold your sick glow. Plus nobody couldn't do nothing once he let the brick go. And you know I know that's a bunch of snow.
Hey everybody, welcome back. This is the Punchmans Report. My name is Rusty Seabutter.
And I'm Jimmy Burrito.
And are you ready for some punching? A Wednesday night party. You got Rusty and Jimmy. So let's get this recap started. I actually prepared that. I actually sat down and wrote that down.
Oh, I thought you just came off the top of your head.
It might as well have been. But it is what it is. Hey, how did your game go this week?
It went pretty good. I got a win. Back in the top third of the division here. I think I'm number 3 actually.
Yeah, I got to see some of it, and it seemed like you had him relatively well positioned, and we're on your way to a score before I had to kind of bug out the game. But you felt good about it?
Yeah, it did. It was nice to finally get some hits. It turned into a push fest with my Wolves, though. I have to say, he has a bunch of more than anybody deserves. Blodge sources, and I have no tackle on any of my Wolves because my tackle wolf was misnext gamed, and man, that I just pushed him in circles for the whole second half.
Yeah, it almost makes you kind of evaluate the value of tackle.
Listen, I have a tackle wolf. He got hurt. But how about your game?
You know, so I played C-137, who's a monstrous undead team.
Yeah.
Super mean. And I lost, and I don't feel that bad about it. I got out of it relatively unscathed. I felt like I played him pretty well. But, you know, it just didn't break my way. But that's fine, because now I got my full teams all healthy. I'm not down to Black Orc for the first week in God knows how long. And I'm ready to play some Necros this week. I got the Necromantic Newbies.
Oh boy.
Yeah. All right, so without further ado, you want to jump into 5E, the Elegant E's?
Yeah, let's take a look.
All right.
So it looks like before we get started, we have a game that has not been played yet. And the divisions should be rolling over any minute, so I don't know if that one's going to get played. But
yeah.
So we'll see how that affects. I don't know how that's going to affect the leaderboard. But let's jump into Eat, Pray, Shove versus Film Flares.
Yeah, so the Film Flares, I picked them correctly this week, and they got that win on the board.
I like it. 2 expulsions.
Well, that means they're doing God's work. they're putting that boot in.
Demon heathens.
Looks like armor break wise, only a slight edge. Got the 1 touchdown. Looks pretty tight.
Yeah, ball possession pretty tight. Blocks pretty tight. Kaz were pretty. No, actually, Pray Shove took on a few cell-phone casualties, probably from bloodlusts.
Yeah, there's
5 failures.
Very similar running yards. Very similar. Actually, the Eat, Pray, Shove's the only one that inflicted an injury in this game on the other team. Let's take a look at the dice rolls real quick. And you know what? Actually, this is not a bad bloodlust game. 25 successes, 5 failures, 83%. That's kind of about as good as you can hope.
That's par, yeah.
I'd say it's above par, wouldn't you?
It's like...
I feel like mid-70s or even high 70s.
No,
is kind of
like 80 to 85%.
Yeah. Well, then why does nobody ever get 80, 85%?
I think they usually do. Let me take a look at this.
Look, I've been making a lot of videos about vampires lately. I don't mean to.
Yeah, 5 out of 6. If it's 83%, is exactly on par.
All right. Fine.
You just
Math.
remember the 5 times it failed. That's all.
I just think with my heart and my gut, and I don't like math. Like all this 1 in 9, 1 in 38, or whatever. Don't even know the number. Don't want to
Listen.
know the number.
Listen, I understand. I understand where you're coming from, but you know the stuff. It's there. It's all laying there, right under the. You just lift the carpet a little bit, and you see all this math underneath. It's what makes the world work.
And then it's like A Beautiful Mind with Russell Crowe, and you see numbers like streaming down in front of your face. So uninspiring MVPs for both of these teams.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. The Ghoul is not the worst, but you'd expect the Ghoul on a Neckar team to get some points, but it could be worse. The Thrall is unfortunate, but he also looks like he took a minus agility on a Thrall this game. And the White did level up. Indiana Jones got a level, so good for him. Looks like he's the one that scored his touchdown. Yep.
This is a good named Thrall, by the way. Saving Private Rye.
Right. Yep.
What I'm just gonna. We should move on to the next team. I tend to drag on these teams when I start thinking about them. But what do you think about Bonehead on it, or getting Thick Skull on one of these Thralls?
I've never considered or thought about ever picking Thick Skull on any of these.
Oh, or is that a mutation? It's a mutation.
It might.
Never mind.
Is it a mutation?
It's a mutation.
Or is it a... Maybe that's why I've never thought about it, because it's not an option.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think of anything that makes Thralls a little less squishy.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess it doesn't exist.
They're not there for that. They're there to be squished. Like a blood bag.
Speaking of things that are meant to get squished, let's move on to the bad QB squad and the less sucky bloodsuckers.
Yeah.
And they did not get squished this day.
Oof.
First of all, let's talk about Dark Jacoby Brissett, which is a fantastic name.
Got the MVP and the level.
He got the MVP and he got 10 points in this game.
Yeah. Got Mighty Blow.
He did, and I mean, I think he's 1 point away from his next level. So he's got Mighty Blow. I'm imagining Claw is coming up next.
Why has he got to be Dark Jacoby Brissett?
Because normally Jacoby Brissett is far too honest and good of a person to Claw and Mighty Blow poor Thralls and vampires all day long.
It's a good save.
I would like to draw your attention to the armor breaks in this game.
18-7.
Yeah. So we actually have a highlight coming up of this game. It was a wacky one. I think the score and the armor breaks kind of tells you a little bit there. Let's look at the... Oh, look, exactly at average on Bloodlusts, since I just learned what average is, which is 83%. It is 82%. I implore you to watch the highlight today of this game and tell me if you think that this feels like an average circumstance that a team can deal with. Because it was horrific. Once again. Less sucky bloodsuckers, my heart goes out to you. You're a brave person for picking Vamps, but I think this season of the Elegantese has taught me I'm never ever going to play vampires. Looking over the stats, it looks about right to me. Haven't watched the game. 72 yards running. Vampires made a few stabs at the end zone, but inevitably it got taken away from them kind of time and time again. And then, of course, the Underworld used their speed, which you can see with 140 yards rushing. They even squeezed in a two-turn, I think, steal two-turn touchdown at the end of the first half to go up 2-0 going into the half. It was brutal. It was a brutal game, and you wouldn't think that coming from an Underworld squad, especially how much they suffer early on. But, you know, he put up 19 points. 19 points for bad QB squad this week in SPP.
Yeah.
So that's nothing small. Less sucky bloodsuckers. It's good to see 7 points going to Vamp.
Yep. Picked up block on that guy.
And that's, that'll pay off.
That's gonna, yeah.
But,
getting that first level on Vamps is really critical for their getting going on their SPP generation.
It is. And before we move on, the last thing I want to give some appreciation to is the bad QB squad continues to put up big numbers in the air with 3 passes Complete.
Yeah.
What is that in completions? Let me just look real quick. Yeah, 3 for 3. They're not so bad. This is you wish Ryan Fitzpatrick had these kind of percentage numbers.
They're like Pennington throws, though. He's got 12 yards passing on those 3 kick passes. So.
Dink and dunk.
Dink and dunk.
All right, so let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on to the Murder Lane Plague Flies. 1-0 win over Respectable Gents, who's the new team.
A lot of goats.
New Chaos team. Yep.
A lot of goats in this game. Look at Skreek the Handsy. Keeps it up.
There you go. Squeak.
And look, look what he took.
Took your hands.
Because he's handsy. I can't wait for Big Hand.
Big Hand.
Big Hand's
big
coming.
Hand. He's got big, sure hands. Just want a massage from that guy.
You know, I don't think I've ever seen the graphic adjustment they make for Big Hand on a goat.
Just a slightly larger bandaged hand.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Disappointing. Is it bandaged because he's Nurgle and it's rotting but expanding flesh?
I had one on my Nurgle team. Remember that?
I do remember your Nurgle team. I remember dropping a lot of bombs on their heads. But I didn't get a good look at their hands, maybe because I blew them off with my bombs.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, he was KO'd that game.
That's right, he was. Similar armor breaks. Nothing, yes to say. Hey,
look at that ball possession, though.
I haven't gotten to this. Ooh. Well, that would appear to be the story.
Yeah.
Injuries definitely favor the Plague Flies, even though there were 3 KOs. So it looked like, both guys were removing each other. Let's look at sustained. There's a lot more sustained on the Gents. Yeah. I don't know. 5 casualties sustained to 3 inflicted. So 2 of those are... Oh, fouls, maybe.
Fouls or dodges or something, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it looks like well played to the Plague Flies on this one.
Yeah. There was a death. It was just an unskilled beastman, so that's okay.
Yeah.
There was also a minus movement and a miss next game. So.
Think of it as a tribute to Nuffle. You sacrifice a beastman. Next week you're gonna get some 6s and some pows. Yeah, you sacrifice a goat, and you're gonna get those good rolls.
Reap the benefits.
SPP wise, Plague Flies come out with 14, which is nothing to sniff at. Skreek the Handsy, the big beneficiary. Zika Zyrus, I think, is a warrior or Nurgle warrior.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's nice. 6 points on him. That's nearly a full level. Respectable Gents getting 5 on Francis, who's a goat. I don't know what Leonardo is, but he got 2.
Leonardo is a Chaos Warrior, and he leveled.
Oh, that's good.
Him.
What did he get?
I don't know. I haven't looked yet.
Yeah. We'll give him a highlight. We're probably due to do spotlights on some of these new teams. Well, we did the other 2. We haven't done Respectable Gents yet, though, right?
Spoiler, it's block.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, they're the new team, so we haven't gotten around to them yet.
Cool. So, I guess moving on. We got, Before Catholicism and Carolina Cruise have not played their game yet. So, I know you guys are new, but try to get your game scheduled. Do it via Reddit.
Yes,
because
Reddit post.
That's very important, and this announcement has been brought to you by Reddit. And we'll move on to MJ Dance Squad and the Side Street Chaps.
Yeah, 1-0 win for the Chaps.
Yeah, and look at the armor break differential and still the win.
Yeah. Oh, look at that MVP though.
Man. So nothing
15
went right
of
for...
16 kick zombie.
Yeah, I mean, you get 17 armor breaks, you lose the game, you suffer a death, you get an expulsion, and your zombie takes your MVP. Sounds like a rough day out, and you had 50% ball possession.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's tough. Elves come sneak in and steal your candy.
This is one of those games you look at the stats and know that you can't get the story of the game from the stats.
I think I just told the story.
Well, what was it?
Necro holding the ball, and they're like trying to make some moves, doing a little bit of, trying to form a cage or something, make a screen, and then The elves just come in and steal your candy and just run in for touchdown. That's it.
Yeah, they do that.
They're pretty, it's 35 blocks is a fair amount for an elf team, I guess, against Necro, although Necro has a lot of fodder for... You tend to get higher blocks against Necro because of the zombies, but
Right.
your removals are the same. Your running is the same. Your casualties are the same.
Yeah, and maybe a lot of that running, 70 yards on 25% possession, that does sound like some steals. So, I'll go with it.
Yeah.
Looking at
Look
the
at that,
SPP.
though. 0% occupation of opponent's half for the chaps. But they scored.
Oh, he must have passed and scored.
In one turn.
In one
Yeah,
turn.
so he stole the ball and
just
ended up
scored immediately.
Yeah. Stole your candy. Stole your phone out your pocket with a pair of tweezers.
Is that how you steal phones?
So some people steal phones.
Man, sounds rough up in Boston. All right. Oh wait, let's look at the SPP real quick, because there are some good earnings here.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. You got so MJ Dance Squad, if nothing else, did not walk away empty-handed. This is about 11 SPP, which is not amazing, but not shabby. What is it on over here? It looks like he broke about 12 or 13. This is that math. My beautiful mind, Russell Crowe vision, is not coming in. But yeah, 13 points. Because 4 plus 1 is 5, and 5 plus 5 is 10. And then that's a 3.
There you go.
Yeah, look at me.
And Wilbur Lazenby here is a blitzer. Got a level. Good for him.
Oh, that's nice. Okay. On to the Snick Snack and Midsummer Nightmare. Mid-season Nightmares. Which kind of was for the Midsummer Nightmares.
Oh.
This was a big game. These were the only 2 undefeated teams in Division 6 or 5E. I did it again, 6 Echo. It was honestly, if you like really dry, boring Blood Bowl, but perfectly played, this was a really, really good game to watch. Both of these coaches are very good. It showed in their match, and it basically took a wizard. It took a wizard to break the 0-0 inevitable deadlock. Give Dukin a lot of credit. Yeah, it's coming up. I made a highlight of it because I think he had one turn in particular, a turn or two before that fireball came in, where it was, to me, the prototype Dark Elf defense. And he was really running at the whole, the Snicker Snack could only advance the ball at a square a turn or so. They were doing it right. They were picking it pieces, trying to get removals on. The Dark Elves removals weren't coming because of that AV8. And they were basically forced to deal with either, a double dodge through a couple guys. Maybe they could have knocked one down, but then it's 3 dodges past the sideline pillar. And instead he just said, nah, fuck it, I'll just drop a fireball. And that was the 1-0 score. And then in the second half, the Midsummer Nightmares were kind of making their march against a very good Snicker Snack defense. And they took the ball away. And that was that. Midsummer Nightmares did do a good job of containing and not letting the counter score happen to make it 2-0. But it didn't, at that point, the way both of these coaches were playing, it was super tight. Really fantastic game. And Duke N, I don't know if we haven't discussed this because we haven't looked at a lot of team stats, and we should start doing that as we get further down the season. This was the first touchdown he allowed all season.
Huh.
So this is week 6. Yeah, took a wizard for it to happen. So tough loss. I would say that this is still a bellwether for you to have a hell of a season. Great win, Snicker Snack. Amazing job by Alice, the thrower. If we look at the statistics, just the one pass, but it was a good one. And yeah, not a lot to look. I mean, I think I kind of told the story here. I don't know that there's that much. You see the big running disparity, but that's mostly because Snicker Snack took their full 8-turn drive in the first half.
Yeah.
Marched all the way down the field. Midsummer Nightmares got the ball taken away from them in their drive, so they only amassed 34. You watch that game, it didn't even feel like there were injuries or KOs for the most part. It felt like it was just a bunch of pieces in each other's way.
Yeah, it's like a
26
screen counter screen kind of game.
Yeah.
That one death was a line woman, unskilled, so
Right.
it's not a huge loss. But yeah, blocks are even, 26-28, low but similar.
Well, they're both playing screen defense, right? And so you even see it in the armor breaks, 8 to 9.
Denial.
Like there's no discernible difference in the punch game here, other than when you watch it, the Snicker Snack did manage to get that shot at the ball and make it count, and steal the scoring potential away. But great game, guys. You guys, I think you are easily the odds-on favorites to be representing the Eleganese in the playoffs this year. So keep it up.
Nice. All right, let's move on to last game of the week. Ultimately, and Sea Serpents 2-1 victory over Violacious Violator.
Yeah. And this was a nice win for old Rylon.
So few armor breaks.
It's really pretty surprising for the lizards in particular.
Yeah.
So few armor breaks. I get the high elves running around and avoiding a bunch of 4-strength pieces, and it's on 34 blocks succeeded, so that's some lousy armor dice. Yeah, I don't know. I almost want to ask Rylon. Two passes, 2 catches. That's cool. Only 1 KO inflicted across each. Very similar yards running, but 20 yards passing, I guess, is maybe the bigger story. Yeah, no one sustained.
What the hell happened this game?
No one got hurt this game. Everyone went home to their wives and cuddled up on the couch and watched Stranger Things season 2.
Game named Hoops.
No way.
Hopes.
Yeah, it's like the South American hoops. Yeah, so not a lot to report there. SPP-wise, definitely a better day for Ulthuan Sea Serpents. Coming in at 13 points, which is not a bad take. I don't know. I can't tell if Utessit Tulu is a Saurus or not, but I sure hope it is. Otherwise, this is probably a pretty disappointing outing for the Violators. But yeah, looks like a good match.
Yeah, and the Sea Serpents picked up a level on a Blitzer.
Nice.
Who had Blodge and picked up Tackle, so that's a good take away from that game for him.
Yeah. All right. Well, without further ado, let's do some spotlights.
Yeah.
Spotlights.
All right. Why don't we start taking a look at the bad QB squad?
Yeah. Been waiting to look at these guys.
Yeah.
And so, as we'll see later, they had a real good week this week. Oh, and look at this.
It's got some development, I see.
He does. This team, I mean, it's tough. It's tough with Underworld off the bat. It's tough to get those first levels. But naturally, Dark Jacoby Brissett had the big week. He had like 11 points or 10 points this week.
Yeah.
And that puts him right up there at 15 and 16. So he picked up Mighty Blow. I like it.
Yeah, and he's 1 point away from getting Claw.
Yeah, and that is the choice. He's probably hurting a little bit for tackle with all the dodgy teams in this division, especially with the Amazons, which I don't think he's played yet.
Would you consider taking Tackle before Claw?
I am the world's biggest tackle advocate. I don't think so. I think for Underworld to really take off, you need that killer piece that everyone's scared of, so they're not just beating up your rats constantly.
Yeah, and actually there aren't a ton of like high armor teams in this division.
No.
That you have to worry about. I think his next 3 teams are all AV7.
Right.
They are. Yeah, he doesn't have an AV9 team until match day 10.
So yeah, maybe situationally the right thing to do here is tackle, and then just rely on I will chug up to, what is it, 31 points?
Yeah.
With tackle mighty blow on him. But man, you're really going to miss out on one of the defining attributes of an underworld team.
I think you take claw. Or sorry, tackle. Just
I was gonna, whoa.
You take tackle.
I kind of think so too. Tackle mighty blow, especially
if
with a
this
bunch
was
of dodgy teams coming
5D,
up. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if this was 5D, you'd consider claw, but you got nothing to worry about here. Just take tackle.
Yeah, and you got mighty blow on the troll. You're only a hurt away from getting claw there, which is what you should do.
Yeah, that's true.
In my opinion.
Yes.
I mean, you could go guard,
guard.
And play it a little, play it a little more safe, but I think claw on that troll, and we were talking about this in the Grun leagues, because someone had picked claw up on their troll as the first skill, and we were all kind of chatting about it. But man, it really scares you.
Yeah.
That claw mighty blow troll, Ryan Fitzpatrick, king of quarterbacks. So if you're feeling the lack of the claw, maybe that's the place that you put it in while you wait for Dark Jacoby Brissett to really take off. But honestly, with tackle and against the teams you're going to be facing with a lot of armor 7 and 8 and dodge, you're gonna hurt him anyway if you can keep him on the field. Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm with you. It just makes me sad.
He's got Agi up on Blake Bortles.
It's big.
It's big.
It's
yeah,
very
12,
big.
16. So what do you think?
I think you score your next 2 touchdowns with Blake Bortles and throw it. And Jacoby Brissett should throw Blake Bortles a vanity pass, to get his level. But I think you get block on him.
Yeah,
maybe
do you
not.
think you make him turn him into a runner or a thrower? I guess I'm not really too familiar with Underworld.
Well, the thing is that you're really hard up for pieces that have any, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, girth to them. You got all these goblins on the field, so you're running a lot of screens and you're using your speed and mobility, but you need a couple guys that can kind of line up, and your throwers kind of become these next tier linemen, these slightly expensive linemen with sure hands and pass, which you don't only need on one of them.
Yeah.
But this guy's got agility. I think the agility is so important on this guy that you take defensive skills. So you take block and dodge. And then you worry about whatever else. Like this is the guy that your offense runs through. And this is the guy that you're protecting. So you're not worried
unless you're looking at him as he's chucking the ball to these goblins.
You can't. It's too dangerous. Animosity. Racism.
Yeah. Fucking racist thrower.
Look at this angry orc staring down this human who are never on a team together. So that's a terrible pick for an icon. It should be a rat and a goblin staring at each other. But yeah, you want this guy either chucking the ball or catching the ball. And as we've seen, Bad QB Squad is probably the most prolific passing team in the E at least.
Yeah.
Even over the Serpents, the High Elf team, I think he's throwing the ball more. I think you develop this guy to be survivable, and build and leave him as a cornerstone piece, and then worry about Christian Hackenberg picking up that vanity pass. Oh wow, you're like 2 vanity passes away from substantial levels. So I guess that's the next point to say is Christian Hackenberg should totally throw a vanity pass. And probably take block also. I just think you need block on this. You need to make this team, especially the rats, more resilient. I'm still learning to play. I'm playing Underworld in our side league. So I'm only 3 or 4 games deep into them. I'm not like an expert, but it really does feel like you need a little bit of ability to take and give out hits. And this is one of the pieces you do it with. This guy I would turn, or what you could do is you could make this guy into a wrestler and make him a sacker, because he does have his 7 movement, just like the Linos do. And if he's a sacker with the sit, with the sure hands and throw, yeah, maybe that's the thing to do. But then again, maybe that's what you do with the 4 agility guy, because he can cage dive. I don't know, man. What do you think, Jimmy?
I don't know. I feel like I might turn him into a actual runner. One of the throwers. Blake Bortles, probably.
Yeah, I think Blake Bortles is your carrier. And so
Yeah.
you want to get those defensive skills. You want block and
Get
dodge.
Blotch. And
Which
then
I think he gets... He does need doubles for dodge.
And then I wonder if you take
But you could
Christian
take 2
Hackenberg
hits.
and you turn him into a ball retriever.
Right.
And
Give
he's
him,
the
like,
guy
big
that
hands
grabs
and-
the ball and gets it to Blake Bortles.
Right. That makes sense to me. So maybe you go big hands. Something like that.
Something like that.
I wonder if big hands on this guy makes his cannon really big. Never seen it. Feel free, by the way, in either the comments or in the Reddit thread or in messages to us on Discord. If you guys are Underworld coaches, let us know what you think this should be, because we're interested to learn too. On to linemen, nothing to talk about there, which it shouldn't be. You want to get block on these 2 linemen. This I will say definitively is these 2 linemen you want block on as quickly as possible, and you should probably feed the ball to them once you get all these vanity passes and that 1 touchdown done and the troll punch. You want these guys to be reliable. Normally rat linemen are garbage, but on Underworld they are critical pieces. You're so desperate for 3 strength pieces with all the goblins on the field.
Yeah.
Goblins,
It's got the 1-2 heads.
yeah,
Your favorite piece.
it's fucking fantastic.
Goblesk.
You know, I don't. What do you do? What do you do next with him?
Big
hand?
hands.
Yeah,
2+, getting in all the little creeks and crevices, and then 2+ to pick it up.
Yep.
Pick up the ball in the rain, and then 2+ to dodge out.
and big hand ignores the rain, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So you make this guy your secondary ball stealer or primary ball stealer, and then you got a lot of. You actually have maybe more points than you want this early on these other goblins, but you got a lot of goblin levels coming.
I could see you turn one of these into a horns, strip ball.
Yep.
Wrestler or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess you need a lot of doubles for that, but
unlike the goblin team itself, you don't need to burn these guys down due to their mutation access if they get a level and not doubles. So you got a lot of choices. You're free to be as wacky as you kind of want with these guys. I don't know. I feel like I'm giving bad advice because I don't know that much about Underworld. But I guess we'll find out. You show us, Bad QB, yo, Buzzard295 with your number name. You show us the way to the promised land.
Yeah.
But yeah, this guy, he plays his team real well. He really gave the less sucky bloodsuckers a fucking miserable day. So, and it feels like he's right on the cusp with all these close level ups. He's right on the cusp of turning the corner. So I'm excited to kind of see what's next.
Right. And with that, we should move on to the next team. The
Sure.
Open Wind Sea Serpents, coached by Rylon.
Yeah. So these guys had a kind of rough start to the season, and it feels like they've turned a corner, just like we were talking about. Well, what jumps out at you first here?
I'm
Other
looking
than-
at his 17 SPP Blitzer. I know he just got a bunch of those points this week, but he's got blodge and tackle.
Yeah, and that's a nice baseline, especially in like we were talking about before with the importance of tackle. This is a piece that's going to do him real good in this division with all this dodge. Blodge is incredible in and of itself, but that's a real nice cornerstone piece. He's got his guard lineman, got his wrestle lineman. I guess you don't do the dirty player with the high elves, huh?
No.
You just do pieces to kind of spring cages and get the ball loose.
Yeah. Yeah, I think your lineman, you want to turn them into, like, you get your guys, line of scrimmage guys, who are going to get, like, wrestle, and maybe that's even it. I don't even know if you get anything else with them. Dodge. And then you get some utility pieces, yeah. So guard and on doubles and dodge on everybody. But I think the real stars of this team are the catchers. Actually, you get blodge on these guys as soon as possible.
Well,
And
good news is Alian Adaloth.
yeah, it's almost there.
But yeah, so this one catcher though he's only 2 points off. It looks like he's been feeding him the ball.
Get that guy block, and then these guys are crazy. I played a high elf game. I don't remember how long ago, or high elf opponent who had a like his catchers. I didn't really consider this, but his catchers were his hitters. He had like wrestle, strip ball. He had leap. He had like a plus strength catcher or something. Yada yada. Man, they were a real pain to like screen out because of their 8 movement, 3 strength, 4 agility, and you get blodge on them.
I've said it before. I really don't think it's fair that some of these. I think the Prelfs do too. Prelfs and Helfs have 3 strength catchers, and humans don't.
Yeah.
And that just seems unfair to me.
Weak man things.
It's true. You don't have that elf strength.
Racist against elves.
Putting in mad reps, lifting up logs, vines and shit in the woods. I guess the last piece of note here, and again, there's a lot of Vanity Pass level opportunities. There's 2 linemen, both sitting at 5 points.
All of his linemen have points, yeah. It's kind of impressive.
So he can start spreading skills across those linemen, and with elves, that's actually more valuable than a lot of teams. And then this thrower, which you said you think that the catchers are the best piece on this team. But this is supposed to be the best thrower in the game. The old high elf thrower. So it's a safe pick with the sure hands. I don't hate it. It does seem a little like maybe that could have waited until strip ball started showing up on some other teams.
Yeah.
But I do not hate it. This is probably his pick up and carry guy. And since it's Helfs, he probably just hangs out back by his own end zone and waits to throw the ball to one of these Jamokes, probably Alien Adaloth.
Yeah, I feel like something that helps you with the passes would be better, like accurate or something along those lines. But yeah, I feel like sure hands is fine. It's probably not my first choice, but
yeah, he probably could have waited for it, but it's just one of those skills. It's never a bad choice. Reroll on the guy picking up the ball, and your delivery system with Helfs, makes your one-turners more reliable. It doesn't. I don't think it's a game breaker by any means, but it definitely helps. Accurate's certainly something I would think about. You roll doubles, you get strong arm on him for sure. That's the holy grail for this guy's strong arm. But yeah, this is a team that is coming together. They got their 3 rerolls and their APO. And look, he's already up to 1350 team value, so he is on the road. So I think unless you have anything else to touch here, we should move on to leaderboards.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, and we can see the effect of that game, that Midsummer Nightmare Snicker Snack standing game. Snicker Snack stands alone.
Undefeated.
The lovely ladies of the Elegantese stand alone at the top of the leaderboard.
I'm happy to see Amazon's at the top.
I know you are. I mean, this has been a fun team to watch. Well played, Centaurian. Good work getting up there. Beating Duke N and the Midsummer Nightmares is no small task. Which I guess takes us to them. Their sole possession of second place. I would imagine it's going to be a tough... Snickersack's got their work cut out for them holding off the Nightmares. Because if they've only given up 1 score all season, they're going to win a lot more games down the road.
I think one message you could take from this is that every time you score on Duke N, he loses.
It's true. He said himself in they had a big long Discord conversation right after their game that I happened to be I was lucky enough to be on for, and he says he considers himself a defensive coach, which makes a lot of fucking sense because he's only let up 1 score in 6 games. So maybe the offense isn't quite there, but with that kind of defense, you're just going to win a lot of games. Things will break your way. Size 2 Chaps picking up their win and moving into sole possession of third.
Yeah.
And they are in striking range of both of these teams.
Yep.
So by no means is anything in the books yet. This is a strong contender to take a shot at getting into the playoffs. Brock Lobstrosity is a good coach. They are a good team. They're fun to watch, the Chaps as well. So I recommend any of these front runners. Actually, everybody in here is pretty fun to watch. Even the Vamps with their bad luck. But we'll get to them. Next up, we got the Ultiway Sea Serpents. Rylon jumping right up into fourth. Yeah.
I think 3 wins in a row.
I think so. He was 0-2-1, right?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, so that's he's turned that corner, and with his offensive scoring abilities, everybody should pay a lot of attention to this team. He's starting to feel his oats, so you need to take those oats and boil them in water and eat them for breakfast.
Maybe put some cream cheese in there.
Yeah, and some strawberries. Next up, we got the Lizards, Jaden V and his Violators.
Yeah, and then we got a couple 2-win teams. The MJ Dan Squad Merlin Playflies 2-2-2, and then Eat Pray Shove and Film Flares at 2-1-3. All these guys still in it, and the Respectable Gents at 2-0-4. They took a couple of those losses came from the team that they replaced, but all these guys are in striking distance.
Yeah, they inherited a couple tough losses, and they took one this week, but they're still, it's a tough hike from 2 wins to catch a 6-0-0 team or a 5-0-1 team. But it's doable. But you guys are going to start needing to help each other out.
You still have half the season.
Yeah. Bad QB squad might be out of it at this point with 1 win, 2 and 3.
Yeah, but you get some good development coming up for Underworld team.
And that's the idea, is especially like we were saying before, you got a lot of people right about to get their first levels. As that development starts coming, Underworld really start picking up. You're right there. Less Sucky Bloodsuckers, 1-0-5. I don't know if it's just every time I tune in and watch you play, but you have some horrible luck trees. But hang in there. You get a nice highlight this week, so check it out. It was the first time, by the way, I've ever seen a standing vampire bloodlust fail and run off while holding the ball, and the ball just floats there in the middle of the air while he runs off the field. Like they didn't actually account for that. But for Catholicism, we don't know the outcome of their game yet. Nor do we know the outcome of Carolina Cruz here at 14. But I guess we'll find out, and we'll get an update next week.
Yeah.
All right. So I think it's on to picks.
Some picks. First up, we got Eat Pray Shove and Respectable Gents. So this is roughly 1,000-point Chaos team versus some Vamps.
And did they got a little bit of development, right? The Gents
I think
picked up
they got
a level or two.
Block, Chaos Warrior, and some.
This is where I think the development, Eat Pray Shove, I'm going to go against my better instincts with Vampires and pick them. Not that I think the Respectable Gents are poor. They came in with that nice, strong first game win. But I do think that there is a skill differential here. And Eat Pray Shove has been the more successful of the 2 Vampire teams. I'm going to go with them.
Yeah. This is tough, because I think the strength advantage here is just overwhelming for the Chaos.
Well, it's not that big, though, because they got 4 strength guys on
yeah, but all of their goats have 4 on blitzes with horns.
So it's effectively 5 4-strength pieces.
Yeah, the Vamps, this is the Vamp team with the plus strength vampire, but only 1 block on them as well. I think I'm going to go with the Chaos.
Fair enough. Next up, we got Bad QB Squad and Carolina Cruz, which is the Prelf team, right? Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Bad QB Squad. I feel like they are coming together. And we haven't seen a lot yet out of the Carolina Cruz, so I don't know what to make of them yet. I'll try to make a point. First of all, I love watching Underworld play anyway. But I'll try to make sure I tune into this game and we'll get a good look at the Carolina Tom Cruises, see how they play. Especially against a team like Underworld, this is an opportunity for them to really stretch out and put some points on the board, get some development. So let's see how they do. Who you got?
I'm going with the Bad Cutie squad as well.
Word.
For all the same reasons.
Well, I'm very smart. I really put into work and study
Made my
film.
point from me.
Sorry. All right, well then you lead off with this one. Who you got in the next match?
And next up we got the Film Flares and the Side Street Chaps. I think I like the Chaps on this one.
I think I do too.
They just have a lot of development. And I know the Necro do too, but oh, you know what? But the Side Street Chaps I'm looking now, I forgot, had missed next game on a Witch Elf. So, and it's his Juggernaut Witch Elf, so it's his only Witch Elf. So he's out
surfing piece.
all his Witch Elves. Yeah.
And the Flares, they got both despite the 8 weeks we've been saying they only had one wolf. I believe they got both their wolves.
They do. Yeah.
And they're coming along. But you sticking with the Chaps?
No, I'm taking the Flares. He's got block on a wolf, block on a golem. Mighty Blow, he's got a tackle piece. Yeah. Going with the Flares.
I'm going to go with the Chaps. I've watched them play a bunch. I think they're a pretty good team. I had a couple horrific games down the road due to bad matchups, but I think this is not the worst matchup for them. I think it's going to boil down to, can the Wolves remove Elves? But I do think he will mitigate the amount of opportunities the Necro get to do that. So I'll go with the old Delphs. All right, and next up we got Less Sucky Bloodsuckers versus Midsummer Nightmares. I can lead off with this one. I'm going to take the Nightmares. They are a fantastic team, probably up there with the class of the division. The Less Sucky Bloodsuckers have had catastrophic luck every step of the way. The Nightmares are going to be able to exploit that. And, yeah, I'm picking them.
I think I am too. He's got 8 movement blitzer. That's nice.
The Nightmares do?
Yeah.
Oh, that must be new.
Voldemort.
Yeah, because they're all Nightmares, those guys. All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Nightmares as well.
Cool. Who you got for the next one here?
Next up, we got the Murderland Plague Flies and the Violacious Violators. So this is like 2 screeny teams that don't start with a lot of skills. Taking a quick look, you got 2 leveled sources with block versus a block and a Mighty Blow, a Neural Warrior. I think I'm gonna go with the Lizards in this one. I know the Plague Flies play pretty well, but I think one of the problems with Nurgle is their speed, and
right.
They their defense is based around setting up screens, and you can't pass it over them or make little dinks and dunks. You gotta like punch a hole or squeak through, and skinks are real good at squeaking through with Stunty. It's gonna be tough to control them, and they don't have to rely on making any passes because skinks hate passing. So
yeah,
I think this is a bad matchup for the Nurgle, even though they're a well-coached team and they got some development.
Yep. I agree. I'm going the same way.
Unless the Beast of Nurgle can get his tentacles on some skinks, and then those suckers ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, but you just don't let that happen. The Beast of Nurgle's going to be tied up with a bunch of Sauruses and shit. I mean, unless they leave him alone, which I can't imagine they're going to.
Yeah, just not
is there
quite
any tackle?
enough development and no tackle. Yeah,
no tackle.
For
yeah,
these Nurgle, so it's just gonna be tough with their slow speed.
It's real tough to deal with skinks, period, without tackle.
Yeah.
Much less if you're slow without tackle. I agree with everything you said. I'm going to go with the Violators as well. All right.
All right, next up we have Ultimate Sea Serpents and Before Catholicism. So this is the Skaven team and the High Elf team.
Yeah, this should be a fun one.
Yeah. Just take a quick look at these Skaven team.
I'm gonna lead off and say Before Catholicism, I think, has a pretty good approach to elves. I've mostly seen him play Dark Elves, which naturally are not quite as offensively explosive. But, so it could be a shootout, and I think it could go either way. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to call a tie. I'm going to say a tie on this one.
You're doing it. You're doing it.
I did it. Wait, what do you say?
I think I'm going to go with the Sea Serpents. The Skaven team is getting some development. They're taking some hurts. They're going to be missing a gutter runner for this game. Man, I mean, yeah, I think he'll do well. It could be a tie or a high-scoring game, but I think the Sea Serpents just have a lot of they got a good start on development. Got some really important pieces, including a tackle Lodge Blitzer, who's going to be key in this game against the Gutter Runners.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. I guess it could even boil down to how well does he use that piece, and can the rats get it removed?
Yeah, that's true. Foul that piece off, and it opens the game right open again.
Yep. That should be a fun one. I'm going to try to catch this one.
All right.
Next
up we got
go for it.
MJ, Dance Squad, and Snicker Snack. This will be a good game.
This should be a really good game. And this is not a great matchup for Snicker Snack, though. I guess with 7 armor across the board, the claw don't mean
Dance
nothing.
Squad, Billie Jean has plus movement and plus agility on that ghoul.
Plus movement, plus agility, and they start with 7 movement, so that puts them at 8 movement and 4 agility.
8. Yep. It's a pretty nice ghoul. Too bad it's gonna explode someday, and there's gonna be nothing you can do about it.
You sound bitter.
Sorry, I just had another ghoul die.
Did you have one die this week?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, they're made of sawdust and gasoline, those guys.
And spit.
I'm going to take the Zons, really just on the fact that they haven't lost yet, and they are the team to beat right now. I do think this is a tough matchup for them. I think there's a lot of pieces on this team that can give them trouble. How much tackle is on MJ Dance Squad?
Take a look.
I'm going to jump over. Yeah, let me jump
Got
over
one white with tackle.
One
who
white
I think
tackle.
I wasn't a fan of at the time, but now up against Amazon's here this week, it's looking like it was a prophetic pick. But
Yeah, well, that might be what he was looking at down the road. I'm sticking with Snicker Snack, but this is a tough matchup. Who are you taking?
I am taking Snickersack. I don't think I've actually looked at this team in a couple of weeks. He's got guard on all of his blitzers.
Yeah.
And a catcher. So he's got 5 guard already on a team full of dodge and blodge guys.
Yep.
Oi.
Now they're getting a little disgusting. The question is going to be, can they sustain it? But for right now, they're going to be a tough out for anybody, even a Bashy team, even though there's not many in this division.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that does it for picks, and therefore that does it for Division 5E.
Yep.
And so we draw to a close with our elegant ones. So that will bring us to highlights. Not a lot this week in terms of highlights. I don't know. I've been busy.
Get used to it.
Yeah, this is it. You just get 2. But I think they're both good ones. Hopefully you guys enjoy. And again, keep the tips coming. You guys have been fantastic about hitting me up with good games and good moments. Obviously, I can't catch them all, but if the upcoming weeks or anything like this week, there's more to capture than I even got time. But yeah, without further ado, let's watch some highlights. Boop.
Nice.
You have to learn the rules of the game. Keep your eyes open, your brain sharp, and your fists up. Find a way, or make one. There is one rule, and one rule only. To hunt or to be caught.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. There you go. Those were some highlights. I hope you guys enjoyed them.
About that fireball touchdown.
Yeah, that was something else. It's a short, it's a short video there. I know, cut out in the middle of the song, but between the fireball and seeing those dwarfs just go bonkos on those bongos, it's a good time for all.
Speaking of dwarfs, why don't we start with the first game of the week in 5D, Dignified Dwarven Dynasty, 4-0 win against the Thirst Quenchers. That is a big number for a score column.
Yeah, we got egg on our face on this one. I think we both picked Thirst Quenchers.
Yeah, we sure did.
Yeah, I watched some of this game. Bummer on the Hobgoblin stealing your MVP, by the way. Also, bummer on the Goblin stealing your MVP. Did he take something yet? Maybe it's more 2 heads. No, it's Dr. Bold. Got the
Dr.
MVP.
Bold got 2 heads.
He did. That's nice, having two head guys.
Yeah.
Though you could start building out some different goblins from here. But,
Oh,
again,
man.
what's up?
Looking at this loner Hobgoblin, got a level.
Yep. And
the
points.
MVP. Yeah, he leveled. I would have bought him.
Yeah. And then fired one of the other guys, right?
If you want, yeah.
Yeah, but names are important.
Ah. Trophies are good too. I guess it's not a trophy. I have all my zombies are trophies at this point.
Yeah, so this was kind of a wild game. It was all over the place. Yeah, so I got a couple pieces of advice here. One for the Thirst Quenchers is you were doing a lot of basing with your goblins. And I know a lot of times you want to like tie dudes up and whatnot, but against a Chorf team, especially with all the tackle they got and all that strength, you're going to take more hits than you need to. I guess try to avoid doing that as best you can. As well, remember that since you're so dodgy and you're so fragile, you're going to want to screen as much as possible and not get into a big scrum. Again, particularly with teams like Chorfs or Dwarfs or Orcs or any of the big punchos. Try to kind of stick away from them, and almost every turn you should be trying to debase any goblins you have and making like an impenetrable net around them where they can't move. But otherwise, it is what it is. It was a brutal game for you. 4 injuries, 3 KOs to 1 KO, and 2 injuries. Yeah, it kind of tells a story. He got beat up. Didn't have the ball very much.
Guess how many players leveled up on Dignified Dwarven Dynasty this week?
Whoo! Well, you tell me while I count up how much SPP this is.
6. 6 level ups on a team that has 9 players. So 2/3 of his team leveled up.
Wow. It's 20,
including
25 points.
Including a Bull Centaur that rolled strength. and a hobgoblin that rolled agility, and a chaos blocker who got a stat bust minus armor. Unfortunately, I think you're gonna have to let that guy go. Maybe not right away, but because he did just roll guard. But man, that's AV8. You don't want him stealing any more points. Replace him now. It's not too late.
Yeah, we just did a spotlight on this team. Maybe we should have waited a week.
I know, but both bull centaurs leveled, and two blockers leveled. That's a heck of a week.
I will say, watching the game, he made a point of getting the ball into those bull centaurs' hands. Maybe he was listening, or maybe he just doing the right thing. But man, did it pay off! Dodge is a little. I guess that's the doubles. So he just
took
doubles.
It.
Yeah, he just took
doubles. It's not the worst.
No,
but yeah,
it's
probably not my first choice.
He's still a little beat up. Still needs to get some chaos dwarves in there. But man, what a week! What a development week. All right, this one was a blast. And it wasn't the greatest highlight game ever, though I thought about doing it. This was a real scrum from start to finish, which is kind of what you would expect with these two teams. To lead off, and I watched this whole game, not live, but after the fact. We got a lovely, by the way, on Discord, Metal, our glorious leader. Basically, he did a play-by-play for everybody in Discord of exactly what was happening over the last few turns. But really, it boiled down to the Franks had a relatively uneventful but very solid drive leading to a turn 7 touchdown, which, naturally Nurgle are going to have a real hard time answering in the half. In the second half, the Nurgle really struggled to pick up the ball, and this was the only thing I was thinking about making a highlight of, is they failed 3 times in a row, finally picking the ball up in turn 13. And I think that kind of doomed them. It really boiled down to they had to make a mad scramble. They actually got a really good cut across the field to get a shot, but the Franks' positioning was too good. They were able to scramble blitzers over to them. And then it was a tense sideline run, but the Orcs tied them up. They managed to get the ball away from them. And the whole thing, I think, took place in the rain. So it was just one of those sloppy, it was one of the, once the ball was out, that was pretty much the game. Especially for these two teams. Fear and Bloating played an excellent game, by the way. The 1-0 does not reflect kind of their effort here. But, picking up the ball 3 times in a row on your drive and not picking it up until turn 13 is going to be a recipe for real stress for any Nurgle team.
Yeah. It was an excellent development game for the Nurgle, though. He did get 2 Nurgle warriors leveled up this game.
Lord Stocko Scolio.
Yep. And Achaugo Morbid, who is his last Nurgle warrior that needed a level, so now he's got all 4 of them with something.
Nice.
Blocker Mighty Blow.
Yeah, Bob Johnson continued his streak of touchdowns. Whenever we revisit Hall of Fame, I think we're going to see him right up there near the top. And Stump Chunk Man, who, though he's hurt and a lineman, as I recall, I noticed him in the game a few times making some pretty big get punched in the face plays. Doing his job. And he was rewarded for it.
Yeah, looking at the statistics on this game, ball possession seems to match your... make sense with your count of what happened.
Yeah, the 68 yards rushing to the 32 kind of reflects the deal. That cut across on the field at the end of the game is probably those 32 yards in like 1 or 2 plays. Yeah. Again, no one was breaking armor, but there's a lot of armor to go around.
Fair amount of blocks. Yeah,
a lot of blocks.
Not a lot of armor. There is a fair amount of armor, but the rotters and stuff, those guys should explode.
Yeah, it was raining, so maybe their hands were slippery. But yeah, good game, worth watching. Again, it's sort of like Snicker Snack with the Nightmares. Not a flashy game to watch, but 2 very good coaches playing very good Blood Bowl. So congrats to the Franks. That's a big win for them in the leaderboards, but we'll get to that in a minute.
All right. Let's move on to our next game. Almost Dead Poet Society, 2-1 victory over Starstruck.
Yeah. So, I I guess we can see where's Waldo. He got the level on the ghoul. Megget picked up the MVP for a level on a lineman, which humans is not so bad. You do need levels on those linemen.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, you do need them. They're more of a spread skill team than say Undead or Necro or stuff like that. I think if you look at the statistics, though, the ball possession is the story of the game. It was a competitive game from what I watched. Check my notes real quick while you take a look at the stats.
I did watch this game a little bit. Yeah, it was ball possession was just dominated by the Undead team.
Yep.
75% to 18%.
Oh yeah, and I got in my notes here that guard really felt like the difference in this game.
Yeah.
The humans did a good job of slowing down the undead and tying them up or screening them, but the guard just they couldn't deal with it.
Yeah, that's right. I remember watching some of this. The punching holes in their kind of made a hyper cage, right, with the undead team.
Yeah,
and,
well, that's kind of his
couldn't
thing.
punch into it. Yeah.
You got to be able to chip away at the edges of that hyper cage and get those removals, but the humans were dropping, and so they were at. I think by turn 10 there were 10 removals across both teams, 6 and 4.
Yeah, I really had to commit to taking down those mummies on the corner, and just it took like 3 or 4 humans to do.
Yeah.
And then if you don't remove them, it's just used a lot of dudes to take down that piece, and then you don't have enough left with all the guard to get a man on the ball. But
this was a 1-1 game. I think in the 11th, the humans tied it up. But ultimately, the undead got there, and it was actually really up until the last drive. It was a very, very close game. But the undead got all 4 KOs back.
Yeah.
And that was too much for the humans. It was kind of a murder show over those last few turns as they just marched down for the winning score. So almost dead poets hold on to their lead in the division.
Yeah, and at least Starstruck has a moral victory. They killed Robbie Haggis Burns, the armor ghoul.
Yeah, that's right. I made a note of that.
Yeah.
So the prophecy is fulfilled.
Stick that feather in your helmet.
The moon is red. Crows are falling from the sky. The armor ghoul is dead. But live and learn.
Yeah.
Fantastic SPP game, really, for both teams. 14 for the humans, including I think a level for Paul Crew, the third, who lived. So good job, Paul Crew. Turley lived, but I think got hurt early in the game. And then on the undead side, they got 16 points? No, 15 points. I'm burping, sorry. 15 points. So good take by both teams. Good game. Worth watching for anybody out there. So let's move on to
Ars Gotia versus Maximum Overkill.
This game was a blast. It does feel like a tie for the Ogres is a win for the Ogres.
Yeah.
Look at the armor breaks in this one.
Yeah, 8 to 18.
Yeah.
Really pounding them in. I'm surprised all those Noblars to hit couldn't get more than 8 armor breaks, but
yeah, I mean, when you watch the game, the Ogres were just landing their punches and landing their breaks, and the Chaos were kind of doing everything they could to keep up. Interesting MVPs for both. That I don't like saying Noblar. That diving tackle Snotling.
Yeah,
yeah, he's only 2 points away. But Furcus, his ball carrying guy, who's hurt, and I guess is he missing next game? No, he's not. He was just badly hurt for this game, but he's the sure hands ball carrier. He's now up to 25 at 31, so he's looking at his next level 4 pretty soon. And the stats, I guess, tell the tale. Not really.
Ball possession favored the Chaos. Blocks were pretty close, but slightly favored the Ogres.
Yeah.
and removals were pretty even. There was
I
a
think
kill.
it's the armor breaks is really I think
Yeah.
the front screen here tells the real story, which is 18-8 and armor breaks is kind of what let this wind up being a tie. But both coaches played real well. It was a lot of fun. It's as fun a 0-0 tie as you're gonna watch. All right.
Yeah. Move on to the next game. It's Rogues Gallery 2-1 win over Dead Wrestler Society.
Yeah, and this is a big one.
Look at these two MVP levels over here. Ooh, Mr. Perfect. Guess what he rolled?
Oh boy. Well,
That's your star skink.
time to sharpen your tackle box.
Yeah. And your
'Cause-
boots.
Yeah, you gotta kill this skink, everybody, because that skink is gonna score a lot of points.
Yeah.
17-16, so it's even a quick jaunt up to his next level. Hobgoblin steals the other level here. Let's see what he got. He got kick. It's always
kick.
solid. Yeah, I guess
What do you think about the armor breaks on this game?
What do I think about him? I think for as much force strength as was on the field, and as much tackle against skinks as on the field, that's not a lot of armor breaks. It certainly seemed to work out for Rouges.
Yeah.
I think honestly, the blocks is the bigger story.
Yeah. Only 25 blocks for a lizard team is unfortunate.
Yeah, and I didn't watch this game, so it's hard to tell, but it almost sounds like the lizards weren't tied up, or they were afraid to punch if they were tied up.
Yeah.
Maybe due to a skill differential or something like that.
Well, I think actually, your lizards, you're going up against a team with a couple 4-strength pieces or some speed. You really want to set up a screen, keep your sources free so they can move, advance with the ball or whatever. But
Right.
it's just hard to get some. It's hard to get the hits against like a dwarf team or something with lizards this early. But
Yeah, and I think with 62 yards running for a lizard team kind of indicates they didn't. I mean, 25% ball possession backs it up, but they didn't have the ball a lot. They didn't really get to make plays with it. 82 and 2 scores. Almost seemed one of those must be a takeaway score.
Huh.
That's going to be my guess here. Looking at the numbers, 82 yards on 2 scores makes me think you took the ball away.
looking at this team too, the source got injured and took a miss next game. Was one of his block sources.
Hmm. Maybe
So
that
yeah,
happened
he's
early.
playing down a source with block. So yeah, hard to
Hard to
to
come
take-
back from. Yeah.
take the hits if you're going uphill against block against all those dwarfs.
Yeah, and this is kind of this is a pretty good Chorf team.
Good
It's-
development in this game from Rouge Gallery with both Bull Centaurs picked up a level.
Anarchy, and is Shade's a
Hush.
Oh, Hush. Oh, he must have been right there near level. Yeah, fantastic.
So now he's got 2 Bull Centaurs with block, break tackle, and one of them has dodge as well.
Well, that's gonna be tough.
That's a real good start.
Yeah, and I mean, total 15 points takeaway for the Rogues Gallery. That's a real nice haul. 8 points for Dead Wrestlers, but it was all on Mr. Perfect. So you can't really complain about that. Especially when that 8 points directly went into Agi, which means that's going to directly translate into wins for you. But we already know Dead Wrestlers is a pretty good team. They'll bounce back, but we'll see who they got next week, and when we get to picks.
Let's move on to the next game.
Big game for Nuffle Nose Wonk Elf Fun.
Yeah, 3-0 victory over Blue Beasts.
Yeah. 3
Our
passes
friend.
in this game. That's
Yeah.
the first thing that jumps out to me, other than the 6 armor breaks, which is low even for Dark Elves versus Lizards.
Yeah, all those skinks that could use some hits.
Yeah. Whereas you got your 14 for the Blue Beasts. Let's see what that translated into. That translated... Oh, that's off 50 blocks.
Blue Beasts.
The Bluebies. The Bluebies got 3 KOs and 1 injury out of 50 blocks. That's not a great return.
Yeah.
That's seems like kind of bad luck. Whereas you look at 32 blocks and you got 3 KOs and 2 injuries.
Yep.
Dished out.
On fewer breaks.
On way fewer breaks. About 100 yards in the air and the ground for Nuffle Swonk Elf Fun to 24. I'm actually kind of surprised at 31% ball possession that you only wind up with 24 yards on a Lizard team.
Yeah, it looked like he might have caged a little bit too much.
Yeah. And maybe that's the takeaway, is maybe he was playing a little too conservatively and gave... Dark Elves are one of those teams you can't give them too many chances to figure out how to get at you. You got to keep the line moving.
The goalposts.
Yeah. Because once they start setting up, they're going to pick apart your cage corners, even with 4 strength. So maybe that's what happened here with 24 yards rushing. But, it'll come together. Don't worry too much. Anything else you want to look at there before we move on?
Yeah. Let's move on to the last game of the week. It's the Things Dwarves Hate 2-0 win over Woods of Holly. Did you watch this game?
I did not. I heard some of
this game.
the chatter about this game as it was going on. Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you saw there?
I was watching this while it was happening, and man, I feel bad for the Woods of Holly. That was a rough game. Tried to push the ball up the sideline real quick for a 2-turn touchdown to start the game. Unfortunately, he set up their cage a little too close to the sideline. The Dwarves were in range of enough Dwarves, so he was able to smother that little sideline cage and surf the ball out of bounds. The ball came back and landed right in the Troll Slayer's hands on the opposite side of the field, and he caught it. And then he just dwarf caged in his backfield and just beat the snot out of these poor guys.
And I'm guessing they never were able to recover from whatever the beating was. Oh, yeah, well, here we go. 5 KOs, 1 injury.
Yeah.
Which is catastrophic. That 1 injury was big, though, wasn't it?
It was minus agility on his plus agility blitzer, so now he's just a very expensive level 1 blitzer.
Well, looking at the sustained here, even though there was only 1 injury inflicted, there's 3 sustained, which means there were 2 on dodges or other things.
And the other one of those injuries was a Witch Elf who took a niggle injury, so that's a retirement package for her, unfortunately, I think.
I think he said he's going to ride the snake on that one.
No, I'm scared of that.
Yeah. I kind of get it. Might as well use her for as long as you can, but then again, it could be wasted SVP. Also, though, when you got to replace a Blitzer and a Witch Elf in the same week, I get it when it comes to money.
Yep, that's true. And it looks like he replaced the Blitzer already.
Right.
But yeah, it's only got 40k left. Can't afford to replace the Witch Elf. That's these elves are expensive.
Yeah, so I think he's just gonna ride the Witch Elf until she blows up, which could very well be next game, and then maybe he'll either be closer or be able to afford replacing her.
Yeah, Niggled Witch Elf is something I think a lineman might be better. But
well, maybe you just use her to try to surf, especially since that won't cost you SPP.
Yeah.
So when you blow her up. So yeah, it's a bummer. Man, 70 yards running for the Dwarves.
Yeah,
big day on the ground.
That cage from when he caught the ball in his own sidelines. And to be, Woods of Holly, we're talking about Cunning Foxpup is the coach. We were talking about this after the game. There was a couple things that happened there that I think, he was able to, you come away from this game, obviously you're devastated, you had the big injuries and you had the loss, but you come out of this feeling happy about the fact that you almost stopped that score rate. So early on in the game, Dwarves recovered the ball and were able to cage and just beat up on you, and you still almost slowed them down and prevented the score. It did kind of snowball against you there with the 1-die blocks. Again, taking 1-die blocks against Dwarves as elves is
gonna be
risky.
rough.
those are low quality blocks to be thrown. You just want to be careful when you're doing those. Make sure you're not doing them just because they're there. You want to be doing them because you have to, or you have some advantage.
Right.
But
well, and at 35 blocks to 40 may not tell the tale, since
that's
kind of like what
that
you were talking
does
about
tell
is
the tale,
quality blocks versus
yeah,
not quality
because
blocks.
that's a high number of blocks for a dark elf team against dwarves, where you were down players. You know, you down players early in that game. Should be a lower number, but it's a good game. And you're already on your way back up to recovering from that. You got a level on your runner with the MVP, so that's good. Got dodge on him.
Now that'll be handy. Make it a
Yeah.
little tougher to hit. But yeah, so I think that does it for scores. And that means it's time for spotlights. Who we got this week?
Nuffle knows Wonk Elf Fun.
Nuffle Nose, Wonk Elf Fun. They are on the second page. Let's see. Ah, there he is. Vundaba. Got that nice lime green soda uniforms.
It's like 90s electric junk product.
Oh man, my man,
Well,
Mood Foat Toe of Doom, sitting there with the miss next game.
Yeah, it's too bad.
It
Did they
is.
play this week? We just talked about this, but I already forgot.
They won big this week. I think they won 3-0 against the Blue Beasts, which is that new lizard.
Oh right, yep, 3 against Randomus.
Oh yeah, that's Randomus. Okay. So yeah, the Randomus managed to put a hurt here on the Blitzer. So that's actually a pretty significant injury. That's a lot of his removal power taken off the field right there.
Yeah.
I guess let's keep that in mind as we look at the upcoming games, because if he's facing a dodgy team, that's going to hurt him. But that's a very nice piece. Moodfoot Toe of Doom. We've talked about him in the past. Block tackle. Do you do piling on with a Dark Elf team?
Well, I think you gotta roll doubles to get.
Oh,
hit, right?
to get strength, right?
Yeah, with
Yes, you do.
Moodfoot. Yep, requires doubles.
Well,
so
good
he
job
already
on
got
the mighty
doubles
blow
to
then.
get the mighty blow. Yeah, but
Yeah.
hope for the best. But yeah, I guess if you're man, it's such a fouling target though. If you do lay yourself out like that, but
So what do
I
you
think
do
you
next
take-
for this guy?
you might look into sidestep or guard if you roll doubles, or
Well, I think if you roll guard, you do piling on just for the removal piece, because Dark Elves can protect their Blitzer.
yeah, that's true.
Like they can basically go and get into a position where he can blitz, pile on, and they can keep him protected.
Cage up around them basically.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, naturally, you want to be screening more diligently, but
He doesn't have dodge yet. That's my next skill.
oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So on regulars, you get that dodge.
Yeah, dodge. And then you consider sidestep or something. And then you maybe even consider frenzy. Although you're gonna get a witch elf, so
Yeah, you kind of have. He's got the Witch Elf here, so maybe you have your Frenzy, and then you can get a second one, right? You can get two Witch Elves.
2 witch elves. Yeah.
So he's got, looking at the other blitzers here, he's got the other Blodger, which is great. Nice, solid, standard piece. And then Never Odd or Even, which is a fantastic palindrome we didn't know was a palindrome.
All of them are.
Yeah. 5 agility on this guy right off the bat, and I think you make him a cage diver.
Yep, for sure. You
You
get
start thinking about leap.
Yep, leap. It's gonna be good. You dodge, leap.
So I think that's what you want to do, is you want to build this guy out in that classic Dark Elf mold of a cage diving leap guy, with whatever those skills. And with 5 agility, you can score at will with this guy, as long as you're being careful. So yeah, funnel points into him.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's only got 10 players, which I think is a little rough. At 30k cash, I don't think that's changing anytime soon, but at least you still got your Witch Elf, so that's good. Lived as a devil. That's a great palindrome, too. Especially for a witch elf. She's not earned any points, but I think that kind of happens with witch elves because you're surfing so much.
Yeah. Unless, let me see how many games she's played. Is that right? She has 0 matches played, so this is a brand new witch elf.
Brand new witch elf. Well, that would explain the money, too.
Yeah.
Block on the lineman. Can't complain about that.
Yeah.
What do you think? Like, wrestle? No. Yes. Maybe.
Yeah, I do. Maybe not this early, but I think block is not bad for them as a first level.
I do think kick is one of those skills, as either of these other... You may even want to, with UFO or Bob here, you may want to just do a vanity pass and get yourself some kick so you can control the pitch a little bit better. Again, Dark Elves are a defensive team, and a bit of a control defensive team. Kick really adds a major additional dimension to that game plan, so I would recommend it as soon as possible.
Yeah, and what do you think about the development on these 2 runners? I think this is along the lines we were talking about earlier. With,
yeah.
You get one with dodge.
I really like the blodge one.
And blodge, yeah, and then one is like a more passer.
Especially with the lack of strip ball in the division. I think it's fine that you don't have a safe hands carrier. And that you've got Nate Ran, Artan to maybe be your retrieval guy who then distributes the ball. 10 run and Nan earn it is a great piece.
That's
already.
My favorite name.
It's a really good name. And he's only 4 points away from leveling. What do you do next with him? On your runner here. He's already a blodger.
Fend, maybe.
Fend and dump
Nerves
off.
of Steel.
But I would do Nerves of Steel on the runner. The Nate ran. If I was going to do it.
Yeah.
So he's the guy who he gets hit and it doesn't even matter what happens to him because he's going to pass perfectly off to Never Odd or Even or one of these other pieces that can then kind of take the ball down the field.
Yeah. So then what do you...
Yeah, I don't know.
Take.
We've been out of our element on some of these teams this week.
You got Sidestep.
Yeah, not a bad pick. I mean, you could even think about... No, you don't want guard. You want guard on maybe the blitzers or something with 8 armor, or even the lineman. If you get your strength doubles.
Oh, you can get sure hands on him.
Yeah, you could, and just make him.
It's
or
not a bad pick.
You could put catch on him.
Yeah.
And then make but then you get Never Out or Even, who's your receiver.
Yeah, I think I want sure hands, and Nate is going to be the one that retrieves it and is carrying it, and then you get it to 10 run.
Right.
With sure hands, and then he's immune to strip ball and...
Yeah, he's just a super safe
carrying
piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe get sidestep and sure hands, and he's a good ball carrier.
The good news here is he does have his 3 rerolls in his APO. That's probably all he ever needs in that regard.
Yeah.
And really, it's just going to be about cash crunch. He's a little behind in the ratings. Let's just take a look at the Nuffle Swank Elf Fund. Yeah,
2, 1, and 3.
Yeah, 2, 1, and 3. So he's down there in the list. So I would say development is the order of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're not out of it at this point. But
no, you're not.
You got a lot of 3-loss teams in this division, but yeah.
I think you start thinking as you go down that leaderboard, you do start thinking more long term.
Yeah.
All right, should we move on to the next team?
Yes.
Who
Don't we? Next team we got is the Thirst Quenchers. PK Fire Underworld team.
Yeah. And I think this is the last of the teams that we didn't do in the preview, or that we did in the preview, but we haven't covered since.
Last team we haven't, covered since.
So, taking a look at them, there is some development here.
Yeah, there's the Claw Troll you were talking about.
Yeah. So that's here. That was this guy, not in our side league. Yeah, so that's a nice piece, and that's a scary piece, and with 12 of 16 points, it certainly looks like that troll is putting in work. Let's take a look at his stats real quick. 25 injuries inflicted, 1 kill inflicted. Baja Blast is a powerful soft drink.
It's interesting, yeah. And then Skaven Blitzer on these guys picked up Dodge as his first skill. I guess he rolled doubles.
Yep.
What do you think about that?
I like it.
Blodge is good.
I think these guys are so important to keep on the pitch. Yeah, your sacrifice, like, it's going to take him a while to get into that hitting range where he gets his Mighty Blow and then Claw. So by the time he gets that, he'll be level 4. But that's what, 31 points is when you hit level 4. So he'll have another 20 to go to kind of get him where you want him. But I think once he's there, he's a very survivable key piece of your team. I think it's a fine pick. On to the throwers. I like the move a lot on the one thrower.
Yeah.
I think you roll it. This is a team that really benefits from it. Getting up to 8, you got a little baby gutter. Better than a gutter. He's 3 strength. Got to start with 8, right? Not 9. Or do they start with 9?
Start with 9.
So, okay. Never mind. Not a baby gutter. But roll another one and you got one.
Yeah.
No, but I like the move, especially because he's going to be in the backfield picking up the ball and moving around real quick. And you have to keep the ball on the move as this team. You can't cage up and plod. You have to scramble a lot. So I think with a ball carrier, that's a real nice skill. You can keep him mobile and keep him away from trouble a little bit better.
Yeah.
Liking the 2 goblins. Same thing we talked about before in terms of having 2 head goblins.
2 heads, yeah.
One of them's real close, Dr. Snap, who was star of one of our earliest highlights. He is 1 point away.
Yeah, this guy took him his next game, so we'll have to worry about it next week. But
Yep. Yeah, he ain't getting that point next week, but he ain't too far off. And then really not a lot of bad SP positioning. He's actually in better shape than the bad QB squad in terms of his linemen. He's got 5 of 6 on one and 2 of 6 on the other. So Supernova's an MVP away, and Arctic Burst is a vanity pass away. So this is also kind of starting to feel like an Underworld team that's getting near that corner. What is this? Dr. A+ must have a niggle. Let's see. Yep.
Yeah.
You got 150k cash. I would kill Dr. A+ right now. Don't even play around with that niggle.
A loner goblin is better than a niggle goblin with no SPP.
I would just buy it. I would just replace the goblin. I would actually probably not only replace the goblin, I would add another one and get up to 14 players on this team because you do want reserves.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
I don't know where else your cash would go right now. You got your 3 rolls, you got your APO. I mean, maybe you're saving. Let's look at you're still level 1 stadium, so maybe you're thinking about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Start thinking about
I don't know that that's that important. I mean, buying 2
enhancement.
goblins. I don't know. I would definitely replace A+ right now.
Yeah.
Regardless of the cost impact, that would bring you to 110, and then it's probably 2 more games and you can buy your stadium upgrade. But I do think that's a distant second consideration to have it, to ensuring that you can field enough goblins to survive a game because they go down fast.
Yeah.
All right, and that was spotlights. All right, yeah, here we are. Let's take a look at the leaderboard.
Yeah. Up at the top, another undefeated team at the top of the leaderboard, Almost Dead Poet Society.
Yeah, they're holding it down. They that midfield cage tactic seems to be paying off for them. And they're not even bloaty on the TV side. They're actually kind of in the middle, maybe the higher end of the middle for the division. But man, they're a tough out for everybody.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Fear and Bloatin', With the loss this week, they go into a tie with the Revenge of the Franks. So they are tied in a battle to the death for that second playoff spot. Tough loss for Fear and Bloatin' in this regard because head-to-head, I think, is the first of the tiebreakers. Yeah, and that loss there to the Franks could wind up being very significant when it comes down to it. Right behind that is a terrible team full of dwarves. 4-0-2, just ruining everyone's day. I don't know who they got next, but I guess we'll see picks in a minute to see who else's heart can be broken playing these little short fuckers. And then right behind them we got Ars Godia with Zeta having a pretty good season. Lossless, by the way. Only them and the Undead.
Huh. Yeah.
So 3-0. So no one's beaten them yet. But three teams have tied them, and that puts them kind of down. I don't know if you have BB Manager up. Can you see what the point spread is?
I do. Yeah. So the points here, it's pretty tight in the top 7 spots. So 12 to 13 points, and then a drop at the 8th spot for 9 points. So
what's so Undead 6 wins? That's 3 points a pop. That's 3 times 6, 21.
Yeah.
So 21 points
18,
down to 12.
18.
This math.
I'm just
my Russell Crowe numbers aren't doing it. So they got that's about a 10-point spread. Maybe no, 6-point spread. So yeah, that's totally comebackable to I guess everybody in the top 7. What about well, I guess let's move our way back down, and we'll talk about that in a second. Next up we got Rogues Gallery at 6. They're 4-0-2, which is a good record.
Yeah.
Followed by Woods of Holly, Cunning Foxpup, who I know felt pretty deflated after that last match. At 3-0-3, as well as the Lizards at 3-0-3. I would imagine everybody up to here is pretty well in contention. Because you're saying they're at 12, these 7 and 8 teams.
Yep.
Versus 18 for Almost Dead Poet Society. That is a delta you can close at this point. It's not easy, and you're going to need help, and you guys are going to have to band together like a bunch of upstart teenagers in the 80s with your bikes, and you have to take down the undead menace in the middle of your town in order to do it. But it is doable. And then that brings us to the Humans. Starstruck, also a good team. Again, most of the teams in this division are actually pretty good. But what's their point total at then?
7.
That's a tough one. At 2-1-3, it's probably take your shots. I don't know who you got next week. We'll look at picks, but it's probably time to start turning to development. The good news about Humans is there's going to be a lot of players available on the player market every year. Humans are one of those teams where there's always players available on the player market, so you may want to start pooling cash as you get to the back end of the season.
Be like Cash Crew.
Yeah, well, that's what JJ Cash there in Division 4, who is currently the Division 4 leader.
Yep.
And probably going to the playoffs. He basically
real good.
Over the last 5 games of the season, he had something like 500k cash and was carrying all this fucking TV. But for good cause. Look where he is now. So it's something to think about. Definitely look at the player market, see what's available, and see if there's some teams to pick up. May not work with your naming scheme, but we all make little sacrifices and compromises in life. Next up, you got Nuffle Nose Wonk Elf Fun there. Also, the next 3 teams.
Yeah,
including the Ogres.
Yeah, nice little 7-point tie.
Yeah, we looked at Nuffle Nose Wonk Elf Fun this week. 2-1-3, as is Maximum Ogre Kill, who, if I remember this correctly, we saw the standings for the Stunty Cup, and they are tied for first.
Yeah.
Yeah, repping the Deadly D's.
Stunty Cup, for those of you that don't know, is it's keeping track of all the Stunty teams' record across REL, G-Man, O. Big O, and comparing them in their own head-to-head stunty competition.
Yeah, independent of division records or anything
Right.
like that. Just total overall records across everything. And our boy Maximum Mogakill, Random Maximus, right there at the top. I think he's tied with 2 other teams. So, good job, man. Repping the D's. Keep it going. Next, we got Dignified Dwarven Dynasty, who is breathing a sigh of relief this week and getting that win on the board.
Yeah.
And a bunch of touchdowns for
And a
differential.
ton of development, yeah.
Yeah, ton of
Really-
development. This is a big week for you.
Yeah.
Live it up. Go Jeff Van Gundy it and drive your Honda Accord to McDonald's and get like extra Big Macs because you earned it this week. Then we got Randomus coming in. Tough start. Doesn't help to inherit those losses, but added 2 of his own. They've been pretty dinged up. I don't know if they're still dinged up. But
Yeah.
maybe we'll take a look at
That
them
first
next week.
game was a paddle.
Yeah,
for
that
him.
first game was kind of a murder. He's still at 9-10, which makes me think he's not all the way back, but that could just be purchasing order. But you keep at it, and then PK Fire holding down 14 with 0-6. Rough game this week, 0-4, but just keep plugging away. And really, again, the game with Underworld in this first season is development. So try to get those storm vermin leveled up. Try to add to the claw you already got on that troll, which are pretty close. You got a bunch of players. You got a bunch of players about to level. Focus on getting them the ball. Vanity pass it. Look at Bad QB Squad too. Look at some of their games. They throw the ball around a lot, and they get a lot of points off of that in a relatively safe-ish way. Development is so key early on. Try to focus on it, and it'll pay dividends. All right.
Make some
And-
picks.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's make some picks. We are looking at day 7.
7. Yep.
And we're leading right back off with Dignified Dwarven Dynasty. Can they roll that massive development and 4-score win into a win against the Lizards?
Yeah, Lizards who just picked up that 4 agility skink and had a 5-string Saurus, but is going to be missing a block Saurus.
So he's down a Saurus for the game. So 5 Saurus.
Yeah.
And I guess a loner skink. I'm not sold yet on Dignified Dwarven Dynasty. I want to see what they do with all this development. I'm going to go with the Lizards because I like their development, and I've watched them play a few, and I feel like they should be able to do what they need to in this game. Despite a pretty shitty skill correlation with all the tackle that they have, but
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, 2 stat ups and 2 Bull Centaur levels on the Chaos Source this week. I'm gonna go with them. He's got this cornucopia of gifts that he received this week. I'm excited to see what he does with it. So I'm picking Triple D.
Yeah, we'll see what you do with it. Next up, we got Blue Beasts, Randomus, and Zazeta with his Ars Gotia. Who you got in this one?
I am taking Ars Gotia.
Yeah, me too. I think it was a rough tie this week. We still got a dinged up Lizard team there, and that's not the world's best matchup with the Chaos team that's coming along the way Ars Gotia is. I'm with you.
Yeah, dinged up Lizard team's coming in as a fresh team
roll.
into the middle of a developed division. Yeah, so
Yeah.
this is coming from. It's gonna be a tough spot for randomness there with Blue Beasts, but
Yeah. And, focus on your development. Try to,
makes
pick
it
on-
easier to make the picks each week.
It's true. But you can pick on some goats, try to get some hurts on those lizards, the big ones, not the little ones. And it'll come together. Remember, we're thinking long term here, Rando.
Yeah. All right, next up we got Woods of Holly and Starstruck.
This is a good
Woods
one.
of Holly took a beating this week against the dwarves. It's gonna be missing their witch elf.
Replaced the blitzer, but lost the stat up on him.
Yeah.
How did Starstruck come out in terms of injuries? I'm just gonna take a look at that real quick.
Just the ogres missed this game.
That's not small.
No, but against Dark Elves without some pieces, I think it's alright. It's just a missing guard. That's the big loss.
Who you got? Who you taking?
I'm going to take Starstruck in this one.
I'm going to bite you shit, and I'm going to go tie on this one.
Oh.
I think both teams are dealing with some setbacks. I think both teams are good. I think both teams are going to score 1 point.
It's a good pick.
Yeah. I'm very smart, despite my lack of math skills. Oh, this is a good one.
Yeah, next
This
up,
is a good one. Oh,
Dwarves hate, fear and bloating.
I know something Rusty's hate, and that's dwarves. So I am picking Fear and Bloatin' with gusto.
Yeah, I kind of want to too. He's got all his Nurgle warriors have levels. 2 of them have guard. He's got a goat with mighty blow. Unfortunately, Tim's dwarves have had a real good development so far this season.
Yep.
And he also has 5 guard and also has a plus strength piece.
I do think maybe the speed is the differential here, which is funny when you're talking about Nurgle.
Yeah.
And Tim's dwarves have been giant killers kind of along the way here. Once they've gotten going, they had that early loss or 2. Yeah, I'm sticking with Fear and Bloatin'. I do think that this is a good game, and I think that this, if the dwarves can win this game, it's a statement game for them. I think that puts them right up there in the top with everybody. I think they'll just be behind 2 teams, one of which they've played and beat.
Yeah, I'm picking the dwarves in this one. I think a lot of guard and lots of utility to be able to counter the Nurgle's advantages.
Yeah. And they don't got to pass because they're dwarves.
Right. So next up, we have Nufflenose Wonkel Fun and Thirst Quenchers.
Yeah,
Did we? We didn't even plan this. This is our 2 teams that we recapped
it is.
playing each other.
So we got a good look at both teams. I think Thirst Quenchers are still kind of trying to find their feet, close to turning the corner. I think Nufflenose Wonkel Fun has some pretty good development at this point.
Yeah.
Especially
Is
with that big win.
missing that block mighty blow tackle blitzer though against goblins. So no tackle, but
Right.
plenty of pieces otherwise.
I do think I think it'll boil down to, can he elf screen and basically eliminate the goblin threat, or do the goblins just run through because of the lack of tackle? Especially because there's 2 2-head goblins on this Thirst Quenchers team. And a healthy troll. I think the Thirst Quenchers have an oddly good matchup here.
Yeah. It's an opportunity for sure this game.
I'm going to pick Nufflenose Wonkel Fun, but I do think the Thirst Quenchers have a good shot at this game without the tackle piece. Tackle piece would have changed this for me, where I felt real confident one way, but without him on the field and 2 2-headed goblins. Yeah, that's my pick, but I do think this could be a fun game. Could go either way.
Yeah. I'm gonna take a long shot on Thirst Quenchers. I think this is the breakout week for him potentially.
Yeah, you going for that big money wine?
Yeah, taking the points.
No, I like it. Actually, all these are good matchups this week. We got Revenge of the Franks next versus Rogues Gallery. Who you want here?
Rouge. I really like the Franks every week. But I'm looking at this, like I said, both Bull Centaurs leveled for Rogues Gallery.
Mm-hmm.
It's got 2 break tackle block guys. But, I'm going to stick with the Franks, man. It's just...
Yeah, no, I hear that. I am too
good
out of...
team with Mighty Blow piling on and Mighty Blow tackle.
Well, and he's just a very efficient coach, Regnan. And it's orcs, and that's where my loyalties lie, and I hate dwarves. I do think Rogues Gallery is a very competitive team, and I do think this is a game that they could try. They have a very good shot at stealing.
Yeah.
And so I think it's like honestly, all of these games, there's not like a super out of whack matchup this week. Maybe Ars Godia and Blue Beast is the most out of whack of the bunch. But I'll take the Franks too, but I do think this is a close one. I think you could pick a tie here, and it wouldn't be a bad pick either.
Yep.
And finally, we have a very interesting match.
Yeah, I'm excited about this one.
Well, this is kind of what we were talking about, right? Like, what do you do about the hyper cage?
Yeah.
And maybe the answer is you have 6 5-strength pieces, and you smash it.
And you bomb them with snotlings.
Yeah, you bomb. Yeah, because your hyper cage, there's he packs real dense, which is perfect for throwing snots.
Yeah.
I'm going Overkill.
Oh.
Yeah.
So excited.
It's time. It's time to take down the Demogorgon. Oh, these little snotlings riding their bikes. They're going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's too bad he lost that 3 agility ogre.
It is.
But, 30k. He's running a little light on Novelars. That's my only concern.
But he'll get loners.
Yeah, but then he doesn't have a bench of Novelars.
Right. How's he doing on money?
30k, so he can buy one, and that'll get him back
pop?
up to 11.
Do you even want to buy one then, if you can only get back up to 11? Look at the AP. He has 2 AV downs on this noble intentions.
You love that. Armor 3.
He's down an ogre. He's only got 5. That's not great.
You made the pick. I already wrote it down. So
No. I'm sticking with it. Honestly, I take perverse glee in picking this team every week because, as we can see in the Stundy Cup standings, this is a very good ogre team. He plays them really well, and every match I've watched, which is almost all of his matches, have been really fun to watch. And I find this a really intriguing matchup because he's really one of the only teams that gives a real strength problem to Almost Dead Poets. And Almost Dead Poets' strategy thus far has been to hypercage, which he's kind of built to deal with.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like it. I mean, ogres have a tendency to fall apart due to boneheads and whatnot, but I like it. I like the chance of a wild upset here. So this is my long shot. I'm sticking with it.
All right. Well, I'm gonna stick with the 80 PS here.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna bank on boneheads and mummies doing break tackle blitzes with my blown card.
No, those mummies are gnarly, and he generates points with them every week. I mean, he's good. It's a good team.
Yeah.
He should win this game. This should be a game he wins, but matchup wise, he should be sweating it too. There's a team that can punch him in the face, and there's not many of those in Blood Bowl.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's our last matchup of the week.
Yeah. So let's talk about how our picks went this week real quick before we close it out.
Yeah.
You want to do a little drum roll?
Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum.
The Jimmy drum roll, my favorite. So this, this started off as a blowout in my favor. I was murdering you, and then a couple of these late results came in and made it less of a blowout. But I still take the week at 8-5. Jimmy's coming in right behind, two wins behind at 6-7.
Yep.
We still haven't tabulated last week's, so I don't know the overall records, but we'll get to that. We'll get to it down the
You weren't
week.
supposed to bring that up.
Huh?
You weren't supposed to bring that up.
Yeah,
Something nobody noticed.
Nobody would notice, but I'm about transparency. I'm about inclusion. I'm about bringing people in and opening our hearts up to them and letting them see the real inner workings of the show, where we totally forget to do things we're supposed to do every week.
Such noble intentions.
Yeah, that's why I'm down 2 armor, 3 armor. It's not even possible with Titchy. But yeah, it's been a fantastic week. Great games, awesome stuff. Naturally, keep the tips coming. You guys are great. You hit us up every week. I get more messages than I know what to do with. Don't take it personal if I don't get to your thing or thing that you recommended. There's only so many hours in the day. But you guys are killing it.
Yeah, and we should mention that this is the first week we did an interview with coach from REL Division 1, Miss Days. I'm not sure if this is going to come out at the same time or before, but if you haven't noticed, you should look out for that interview. We're going to be doing a little interview series here.
Yeah. Yeah, we can talk about that real quick.
Plug.
Tune in on Fridays at sometime when I finish editing shit. Actually, probably more like Saturday. But yeah, we're doing a new series, which I have named the punching annex, like the learning annex. But basically, yeah, we're gonna do exactly that. We're gonna talk to Division 1 coaches, ask them kind of about how they got up to Division 1 and what their strategies have been, and any advice that they have for newer coaches. And we'll be putting these out periodically, maybe weekly, kind of in conjunction as like a separate thing from the show here. So tune in, check it out. Misty's
was really good. Staircase, what did he say?
Something like that.
My staircase. Yeah, it was a really good first interview. Definitely should listen in.
Yeah, he was a great guest. So yeah, tune in, check it out. If you're a subscriber to the channel, it'll pop up in your shit. So once again, thanks for tuning in, and just remember, there ain't nothing funny when there ain't nothing funny when your hands are sticky with honey.
Oh,
there it is.
There it is.
And yeah, thanks guys. We'll see you next week.
See you.
Peace.